You've probably heard someone say, "What goes around comes around," as if life runs on a cosmic scale of payback. But that idea, known as karma, is not the same as God's justice. And believing it is can secretly twist your view of who God really is. Karma says you get exactly what you deserve, that every good or bad action will return to you in equal measure. But God's justice operates from grace, mercy, and divine purpose that often defies human fairness. You see, karma is a closed system, cold, impersonal, and self-governed, while God's justice flows from His heart, His timing, and His ultimate plan for redemption. That's why sometimes you see the wicked prosper and the righteous suffer, not because the system is broken, but because God's justice is working behind the veil of time, aligning every detail for eternal outcomes rather than temporary balance. The shocking truth is that if karma ruled the world, none of us would stand a chance. Because Romans 3:23 says, "All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God," meaning pure fairness would condemn everyone. But through the cross, Jesus shattered the cycle of human repayment and replaced it with mercy that overrides karma's demand for equivalence. Karma demands repayment. The cross declares forgiveness. Karma is about earning. God's justice is about restoring. And the enemy loves when you confuse the two, because it keeps you trapped in guilt, performance, and fear, believing you must pay back what Christ already paid for. You might secretly believe that the pain you're in is punishment, that every loss is God balancing the scales. But that's a lie rooted in karmic thinking, not the gospel. God's justice doesn't always show up as immediate fairness. It often hides inside delay, allowing His mercy to work repentance before judgment arrives. Remember how David sinned with Bathsheba and still found grace? How Paul persecuted the church yet became its greatest apostle? That's not karma, that's redemption. The shocking reversal only divine justice can perform. And yes, Galatians 6:7 says, "You reap what you sow." But that's not a call to karmic fear. It's a principle of divine consequence governed by mercy, where even the harvest of pain can be transformed into purpose. Karma says you fall, you pay. God's justice says you fall, you're forgiven, then refined. Karma keeps score. God writes a new story. Karma makes you your own judge. God takes the judgment upon Himself. And yet, in His sovereignty, God still ensures justice is served. But His justice doesn't merely repay. It restores, redeems, and exposes truth in time. That's why you can see people get away with evil for a season. But Psalm 37 reminds you not to fret, for their end is coming, and the righteous will inherit the earth. There's a hidden warning here. If you start interpreting your life through the lens of karma, you'll miss the mystery of grace and the depth of divine discipline. Because sometimes God's justice looks like delay, not because He's ignoring wrongs, but because He's extending mercy long enough to turn hearts. That's why Jesus could forgive those crucifying Him, saying, "Father, forgive them," even as justice was being fulfilled on that very cross. The contrast is staggering. Karma demands death, but God's justice satisfies death through love. And when you suffer, it's not necessarily the universe paying you back. It might be God refining your faith, proving that what the enemy meant for evil will turn for your good. Genesis 50:20. The hidden power of divine justice is that it not only judges evil, but transforms pain into testimony, guilt into grace, ashes into authority. So if you've been secretly blaming yourself for every storm, thinking you've somehow attracted it through your past, realize this: you're not living under karma, you're living under covenant. And under that covenant, your failures can't define your future, because justice was already served at Calvary. When you forgive someone instead of seeking revenge, you're walking in God's justice. When you pray for those who hurt you, you're breaking karma's chain. When you surrender your desire to see payback and trust God's timing instead, you're aligning with heaven's court, not the world's ledger. The shocking beauty of divine justice is that it doesn't just punish. It restores balance by rewriting destinies through grace. That's why Romans 8:28 doesn't say you get what you give, but all things work together for good to those who love God, because His justice turns even your losses into seeds for resurrection. So beware of the subtle deception that dresses karma in spiritual language. It sounds fair but denies grace. It feels logical but lacks love. God's justice cannot be earned, only trusted. It cannot be manipulated, only surrendered to. Every injustice you've endured, every wrong that's gone unseen, every betrayal that burned you, none of it is forgotten. Heaven keeps perfect record, but the outcome won't mirror karma's cold revenge. It will reveal redemption so deep that even your pain will testify. You are not bound to a cycle. You are part of a story, and in that story, justice has already been served. Mercy is still at work, and grace is the law that governs your destiny. So let go of the need for what goes around comes around, and embrace the truth that in God's kingdom, what went wrong can be made right, what was lost can be restored, and what was broken can be made whole again, not by the balance of karma, but by the shocking mercy of divine justice. Thank you for supporting our channel. Subscribe to see more videos and stay connected with us in the comments.